Tonight, several developing stories as we come on the air. Two American teens at the center of an international murder case. A leaked photo showing one of the teens blindfolded and handcuffed. Police saying they have surveillance images and the murder weapon. President Trump defending himself from allegations he's a racist, continuing his attacks against Congressman Elijah Cummings, and now accusing Democrats of playing the race card. Life or death decision, the man armed with a massive knife, walking into a police station, cops taken by surprise, drawing their guns, how officers took him down. Crash on the lake, the seaplane going down moments after takeoff, the pilot hitting a tree, spiraling into the water, boaters rushing into the rescue. The deadly nightclub collapse, the floor giving way beneath the crowd, American athletes among the injured. Surviving a shark attack, a surfer on a packed beach about to jump on his board when a shark bites into his arm. Tonight, he tells us how he got away. And the 8-year-old girl with the gold glove, the only girl on her baseball team getting some big league attention.
From ABC News, this is ABC World News Tonight.
And good evening. Thanks for joining us on this Sunday. I'm Tom Llamas. And we begin tonight with new developments in that international murder case. Two American teenagers charged in connection with the murder of a police officer in Rome. Authorities say a leaked image, you see it here, shows one of the teens illegally blindfolded before being interrogated by officers. The teens allegedly confessing to their roles, leading to the killing of that officer who was a newlywed. Hundreds of people today lining up to pay their respects in a city where it is very rare for an officer to be killed in the line of duty. Investigators say the officer was stabbed 8 times in what may have been a drug deal gone wrong. ABC senior foreign correspondent Ian Pannell leads us off.
Tonight, Italian police on defense after this leaked photo showing one of the American teens accused of murdering a Roman police officer blindfolded and handcuffed, his head down inside a police station. The image splashed across Italian media. The police commissioner calling what happened illegal and a mistake. Officials say the image was taken after suspects Gabe Natali Hjorth and Finnegan Elder were taken in for questioning and, according to police, confessed to being involved in the incident that led to the fatal stabbing of newlywed officer Mario Cerchiello Rega. The police say this all began in this neighborhood, in a drug deal gone bad. They say the two Americans allegedly approached a man asking where they could buy drugs. That man led them to a dealer who, police say, sold them fake cocaine. The two, growing angry, allegedly going back to the scene and stealing the backpack of the man who pointed them to the drug dealer. This surveillance video capturing two men running away after the theft. Police say the man called his own phone that was in the stolen bag and spoke to the two Americans. He says they offered him an exchange, his bag for a gram of cocaine and €100. But he went to the police instead, who set up an undercover operation. That ended with the officer stabbed 8 times. Police say the two men then returned to their hotel not far away, preparing to leave the country when police swooped in. Both teens allegedly confessing after investigators say they found overwhelming evidence in the room, including the supposed murder weapon cleverly concealed behind one of the ceiling tiles and bloody clothing. But at a hearing this weekend, both Americans waived their right to speak.
Provato. Sicuramente.
A public defender for Finnegan Elder saying his client wasn't well and psychologically tried. Back in San Francisco, some who knew him shocked.
I've never seen Finnegan do anything that he's been super nice to me.
The Elder family releasing a statement saying, "We've not been able to communicate with our son," adding, "As any parents would be, we're deeply concerned." While in Italy, hundreds paying respects to an officer killed just weeks after getting married in a nation not used to violence like this.
All right, Ian Pannell joins us now from the front of the jail where those two teens are being held as Italy mourns the death of this officer. And Ian, some government officials there are making it very clear what they want to happen to these two Americans.
Yeah, that's right, Tom. There may be shock and disbelief back home in America, but here in Italy, it's anger and outrage. This has become a huge political issue. It's on the front pages of all the newspapers. It's leading all the TV news. And now the Deputy Prime Minister of Italy tweeting, saying that the two men held inside this jail should be given life with hard labour. Tom?
Ian Pannell with the breaking news out of Rome, Italy tonight. All right, Ian, thank you. Back here at home, President Trump tonight defending himself from allegations he is a racist. The president again attacking Democratic Congressman Elijah Cummings and the city of Baltimore. President Trump now calling Congressman Cummings a racist. And after spending the last 2 weeks attacking 4 minority congresswomen, President Trump is now claiming Democrats are playing the race card. Here's ABC White House correspondent Tara Palmieri.
Tonight, President Trump defending himself against charges of racism after launching a Twitter attack on the African-American chairman of the House Oversight Committee and his majority black district. Tweeting, "There is nothing racist in stating plainly what most people already know, that Elijah Cummings has done a terrible job for the people of his district and of Baltimore itself." After the president called Cummings' district, Maryland 7th, a disgusting rat and rodent-infested mess where no human being would want to live, dozens of Democrats quickly fired back.
Well, the president is, as he usually is, or often is, disgusting and racist.
A racist president who attacks people because they are African Americans.
The president has used the loaded word infested before to describe minority members of Congress, including earlier this month when he suggested that 4 congresswomen of color, all American citizens, quote, go back and help fix the totally broken and crime-infested places from which they came.
He continues to say things about American cities all across this country. I mean, look, our president has a hate agenda.
The president's acting chief of staff defending his boss.
Infested. It sounds like vermin. It sounds subhuman. And these are all 6 members of Congress who are people of color.
I think you're spending way too much time reading between the lines.
I'm not reading between the lines. I'm reading the lines.
The president accusing Democrats of playing the race card, but he inserted race into the conversation, using the hashtag #BlacksForTrump2020, while criticizing Cummings' very poor, very dangerous, and very badly run district.
If I had poverty in my district like they have in Baltimore, I'd get fired. And I think the president is right to raise that. It has absolutely zero to do with race.
But nationally, the median household income is just over $60,000, essentially the same as the median household income in Maryland's 7th District. And the city of Baltimore did not take the president's insults quietly.
It is completely unacceptable for the president of the United States of America to use his considerable power and global voice to attack a vibrant American city.
The Baltimore Sun publishing this scathing editorial with the headline, "Better to have a few rats than to be one."
Tara Palmieri joins us now live from the White House. And Tara, the president going after Representative Cummings personally, saying the congressman himself is a racist?
Tom, the president has been relentless this weekend. As of the past hour, he has tweeted 16 negative messages about Cummings, and now he's going after the African-American congressman, calling him a racist without any proof. And it's not the first time he's used that charge. Just last week, he called those 4 minority congresswomen racists. Tom?
Tara Palmieri for us at the White House tonight. Tara, thank you for that. There's one more breaking headline involving the Trump administration. Late today, President Trump tweeting Director of National Intelligence Dan Coats will be stepping down on August 15th. The president says he will nominate Republican Congressman John Ratcliffe of Texas to be the next DNI. An acting director is expected to be named shortly. And we move on now to the deadly nightclub collapse in South Korea. American athletes among the injured. Take a look at this video. Authorities say at least 2 people were killed. 16 were hurt when the upper floor of the club gave way. Members of the U.S. water polo team inside the club at the time. Here's ABC's Marcy Gonzalez.
Tonight, members of the U.S. water polo team returning to Los Angeles after surviving that deadly balcony collapse inside a South Korean nightclub. This video obtained by SwimSwam.com showing partygoers at Coyote Ugly trying desperately to lift the collapsed dance floor and free people trapped underneath.
It was a really scary situation and very dangerous.
2 people were killed, more than a dozen others injured. Among them, 4 members of the U.S. water polo team who were out celebrating the women's win in the World Championship.
The next thing you know, the floor collapsed beneath us on the 2nd floor, and we were suspended like 10, 15 feet in there and sort of fell down.
Johnny Hooper speaking exclusively to ABC News after getting stitches in his hand. Kaylee Gilchrist, the most seriously hurt, still hospitalized tonight, posting on Instagram that surgery for a deep cut to her leg went well.
And tonight, investigators in South Korea are looking into whether that balcony was over capacity and constructed without a permit. Local media reports at least one of the club's owners is now being questioned by police. Tom?
Marcy Gonzalez for us tonight. Marcy, thank you. Now to the frightening scene in Michigan, the small plane crashing into a lake just seconds after takeoff. The plane hitting a tree, then nosediving into the water. Here's ABC's Trevor Alt.
Tonight, the shocking new video of a small plane crashing into a Michigan lake.
2-passenger plane just crashed in the lake, trying to find the 2 guys inside.
Watch as the seaplane takes off from Littlefield Lake, the pilot struggling to gain altitude before slamming into a tree. The plane then spiraling and nosediving into the water, bystanders watching in horror. The pilot and his passengers surviving, helped out of the cockpit by boaters.
The passenger and the pilot get out of the crash, and the passenger was hurt quite bad. The pilot was in pretty good shape.
That passenger in serious condition tonight.
Tonight, police say there were heavy winds at the time of the crash. The FAA and the NTSB are investigating. Tom?
Trevor, thank you. Next tonight, the police manhunt for a busy bank thief along the East Coast. Authorities searching for the so-called Pink Lady Bandit, wanted for hitting 4 banks in 3 states. The FBI giving her the name for the pink handbag she used in 2 of the robberies. Here's ABC's Lana Zach.
Tonight, the FBI is asking for your help to find the serial bank robber they've dubbed the Pink Lady Bandit for the distinctive rosy purse she's carried in 2 of her robberies. The FBI says she's been on the move along the eastern seaboard since her first heist on July 20th in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. And then the FBI says on July 23rd, she hit another bank in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. And then the very next day, allegedly driving 300 miles to execute her 3rd robbery in Ayden, North Carolina. Here she is entering the bank with her pink purse, handing the teller a note. Her most recent alleged theft taking place on Friday in Hamlet, North Carolina.
It's probably good to stay on the move because the less connection you have to a community, at least it increases your odds of not getting caught.
Her pattern reminiscent of the so-called traveling bandit, who hit 7 banks in 6 different states, authorities cracking his case in just under a month.
And the FBI is offering a reward of $10,000. And though she may change her look now that she's getting more attention, the statistics are not in her favor, Tom. In these types of cases, the FBI has a 70% success rate.
All right, likely to lose the pink bag now.
Right, exactly.
All right. Lana, great to have you here this weekend. News tonight about the political crisis in Puerto Rico. 5 days before Governor Ricardo Rosselló is set to step down from office, the next in line, Justice Secretary Wanda Vasquez, is now saying she doesn't want the job. Puerto Rico's Secretary of State would have been next in succession, but that post is among the many vacated over the leaked chat message scandal. She's asking the governor to appoint a new Secretary of State before leaving office. Now to the dangerous heat wave in the west. Temperatures soaring into the triple digits. 36 large wildfires burning at this hour. The Milepost 97 fire now covering 11,000 acres in Canyonville, Oregon. And now a tornado watch is in effect as severe storms target parts of the upper Midwest. Let's get right to ABC senior meteorologist Rob Marciano for us tonight. Rob, good evening.
Good evening, Tom. We've had at least 2 tornadoes already in Minnesota, and that watch is up until 9 o'clock. It includes Minneapolis, St. Paul, and much of western Wisconsin. There you see it on the radar scope there with that mess of storms that's moving through. The front itself as well to the west. That's going to push through tonight and get through Chicago tomorrow morning. Could cause some morning problems at the rush hour, and then by tomorrow evening, it gets close towards Detroit, Indianapolis, and down towards Memphis. The heat, the big story in the west all week long. Today it peaks. Excessive heat warnings in Fresno, Palm Springs, and Phoenix. But tomorrow's going to be another hot day. We had a fresh fire start just a few moments ago east of L.A. 60 acres burned and a home damaged there. Heat also building here in the east through Tuesday. Tom?
All right, Rob, thank you. Next tonight to the 5-year-old boy saving 13 lives in Chicago. Fire breaking out in his aunt's home early in the morning. The boy making sure everyone was awake. 7 adults and 6 children escaping the flames. Here's ABC's Zachary Quiche.
Tonight, dramatic new video showing flames tearing through a home in Chicago with more than a dozen people sleeping inside. The only one not sleeping, little 5-year-old Jaden, who just happened to be staying over at his aunt's house. He sprang into action.
I got mad because Auntie's house was on fire.
Jaden was watching TV when suddenly he smelled smoke. Without flinching, he told his family, including his 2 sisters, to get out.
Because I'm smart and I'm brilliant.
Jaden, whose favorite superhero is the Flash, then running down the stairs, telling the neighbors about the fire, helping 13 people escape the flames. Were you scared?
Yes. What do you think? I was scared.
He saved everyone. If he hadn't got sent to his auntie's house Wednesday, then he would have never been there to get everybody out of the building.
Jaden doing what superheroes do.
Listen, I'm Flash. I can do fast stuff. Look.
The Red Cross is providing support to Jaden and the others impacted by the fire, while investigators continue to try to determine the cause.